It's almost Halloween, and I thought it was a perfect time to bring up this topic of spirits. So, evil spirits, good spirits, demonic spirits, the Holy Spirit, life after death. What else is there? Oh, near-death experiences where people have the experience that they leave their body and they can see everything that's happened once they've been flatlined or dead. Mediumship, experiences where people have lost loved ones and they feel like the loved one is present, or they can smell something. Experiences where they get a scent, or they feel like the loved one is giving them a message from beyond, or a sign. God, the devil, gut instinct, intuition, precognitive experiences where you have feel like you've been in the same situation, or you've received information about it. Anyways, all these things are so fascinating to me, and I thought it was a perfect time to share with you my very first experience with I would say communication, or information coming from somewhere other than myself. Okay, so from the spirit realm. Before I lose you, I'm not trying to convince you of one thing or not. I'm a Christian. I'm not trying to convince you to be Christian. I'm not trying to convince you to believe the way that I believe at all. I just want to share with you an experience, and one experience. This is just one. I've had several, and you'll get to hear about all of them because they're fantastic and magical and phenomenal. And anyways, this whole topic fascinates me because I know that there is something going on beyond what we see and sense here in our physical realm, okay? So, as you know, I've shared stories and really quick pieces of information of my childhood and how I grew up. And so I was with my birth mother until I was about 7 years old, on and off, and with different relatives, and I didn't know my birth father, but there's an experience that I knew of, that I had a supernatural experience when I was 3 years old. I didn't grow up with my mom telling me stories. I was barely with her in those 7 years. When I was with her, I bounced around from place to place, just depending on whatever she was going through. I was put up for adoption when I was 9 years old, and I think a little before that. So I was in the foster care system for a little bit, and then I got adopted. I had this memory, and I knew it was real. I knew it was a real memory, but I had no basis for that except what was inside of me. And of course, I had nobody to share that story with because my adopted parents, they didn't know any of the history or any of that. It was in 2011 where I actually confirmed this story and this information that I have with my birth mother before she passed away. So I always hesitate to share the deeper stories with you because I don't want you to feel sad. So my life has been very colorful, very adventurous, very much filled with a lot of big events and some very traumatic things. So I hesitate to tell you guys stories because I don't want you to be sad, and I don't want you to be bummed out, right? Because some of the stories are really sad. And but I want you to know everything's fine. I've made it through a tremendous amount of things and have come out the other side better and stronger than ever. So when I tell you these stories and it brings up emotions and feelings, you just know that I'm okay, and I don't want you to feel sorry for me, or I don't want you to feel bad. What I want for you is just to take the information and to learn and to expand your mind and to expand your way of thinking, if possible. So anyways, I'll take you back to 3 years old. So this would have been in 1973. And so give me a little leeway with time, because as the, memories are here and they're real, the time, could be off, a few months, months or whatever. Okay. So I was around 3 years old when this happened. And I was living with my mom, and we were in our home. It was dark. It was, either late at night or super early in the morning to where the sun wasn't up. And I remember standing near a threshold from the living room to the kitchen. So the kitchen is in front of me, and behind me it's dark, and it's almost like this kitchen and this whole scene was lit and highlighted, and I could just see so clearly, and everything behind me was dark, and it was a heavy, dark feeling in the house. And I'm observing what's going on. I'm standing there, and in the kitchen, at a counter, I see my birth father, whom I didn't grow up with. I didn't know him. I don't know how I knew at that time that was my birth father, because he was, I remember this incident that I'm about to tell you, and maybe some pictures that my mom showed me. But he was in the kitchen. He was with a person who was my uncle. And again, I have no way of knowing that is my uncle, because I'm not raised with these people, okay? And they're virtually strangers to me. So I'm standing there, and there's arguing and a fight going on, and it's pretty intense feeling. And I see substance laying out on the counter, which, again, I know to be drugs. I know to be something illegal substance on the counter. And again, I'm 3 years old. I don't know, how would I know any of this stuff? And this is where it gets really interesting. So it's like everything else fades away, and I go into this tunnel, or to this like empty space almost, and I can only see in front of me. And I hear a voice, not audibly through my ears, but more internally in my mind and really in my spirit. And the voice is what I would call a voice of God, okay? And I feel an incredible peace. I don't feel afraid. I don't feel anxious. I just feel like I'm watching and this incident unfold, and this presence is giving me the comfort I need, but also the information. For whatever reason, this God is giving me the information of what's unfolding here. And in this communication, I feel like he's telling me it's okay. Don't be afraid. Here's what's going on. And the presence told me that is my father, that is my uncle, his brother, and they're having a fight. They're having a fight over a drug deal. And the presence tells me that my dad's going to get stabbed. So right before everything's happening, I'm getting the information from this presence. And then I see my uncle pull out a big knife. To me, like, I'm 3, so to me it's a butcher knife. And it's big and it's scary. Although I know that it's big and I know that it's scary, I'm not feeling terror. I'm just standing there being told what's going on. And so my uncle pulls out a knife and stabs my dad, my birth father, in the chest. And I see blood and a bunch of commotion. So at this point, I'm not seeing super clearly, like there's a lot of things going on. But I remember an ambulance. I remember the authorities being called and him being rushed to the hospital. So I grew up, let's see, my husband in the background fertilizing, doing the winter fertilization of the lawn on his lunch break. So I had this memory since 3 years old. And I didn't ever talk about it, and I didn't tell anyone about it because it was just in my mind. So all the years later, till around 2011, where I'm an adult with my own kids, and my mom, my birth mother, comes to visit us, and I tell her about the incident. I tell her that I'm standing there, and everything that I remember and everything that's being told to me. And she said that actually really did happen. And she was amazed and floored that I even remembered that. And with the detail, I remember it from the carpet, the shag carpet I was standing on was green, and the paneling or the woodwork around the door being dark brown, and all of this information she couldn't believe. And I always knew it was true because I know there are times where I have intuition. There are times when I feel like I have information that's given to me in my mind, and I'm human. And so I don't know what part, sometimes I don't know, hey, is that my very own thought, my very own feeling? But there are times when I know that I know that I know that what I have been shown or what I have been told or what I sense is 100% true. So there are other stories I want to tell you and share with you of those times where I know, like it's just like almost like a download, like a drop in of information. And I'm like, boom, I know 100% what it's about, who it's about. And there's no doubt that it came from someplace other than my own mind and my own feelings. So that's just one. It felt like a fun time to tell you guys a story like that, since it's Halloween and people, there's a lot more, I think we think about it a lot more at this time of year for whatever reason, because it's All Hallows Eve. I'm really interested to hear your stories, so share them in the comments, drop them in the comments. Comment have you ever had an experience like this? Do you have experiences like this often? Of a loved one, or just information that you have that there's no explanation of why you have it. You can DM me. I love to talk about this subject. I think it's so interesting. I think it's so important that we connect with that part of ourselves and that part of our experience here. Have a good Halloween. Have a safe Halloween. Have a fun weekend. And I'll catch you next story. Please follow, like, subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok at Teresa Better Life.
You want a better life? Yeah. Let's make it real. This is a better life. From scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof, Teresa Better Life. You want a better life? A better life with you. reach a better life. Let's build a better life. Let's build a better life. A better life. To reach a better life.